Almost every one of us feels anxious when it comes to negotiating for money. This could be for your job salary or even for a freelance client. Specifically in job interviews, it gets even more stressful because you worked so hard to reach this stage of the interview, and now you know that whatever you quote will be your fixed salary for at least 1 year. So in today's video, I'll give you 3 comeback techniques for the most common negotiation tactics job recruiters use during interviews. The same comebacks will help you with your freelance clients as well. Without these techniques, it'll be very tough for you to get your deserving salary. Make sure you document your learnings because you'd have to practice these comebacks before you go for your job interview or client call. So without wasting any further time, let's get started. Before even telling you the comebacks, let me share you a quick example of what happens in general. A student works super hard, clears at least 2 rounds and finally reaches round number 3 with the HR. Now I know that HRs are very much aware of salary standards, but they wouldn't know the exact value or the exact niche skill you bring to the table. Therefore, in most cases, you're always asked for a rough salary expectation in round 2 itself, where you're actually speaking to the person who's probably going to be your manager. That is the point where most students lose. Let's say you want to make 12 lakh rupees a year. The job you're applying to has an average salary of 9 lakhs a year. By the way, most of these average salary surveys don't mean much because they barely cover enough people to make it relevant. Even if it does, you should never compare yourself with anything that is average. Now, if you're aiming for 12 lakhs a year and the online average says 9 lakhs, then of course you need 3 lakhs more than average. In this case, when you are in your round 2, never say a single number of expectation. When the manager says, do you have a salary expectation in mind? Never say 9 lakhs or 10 lakhs. Always say a range. Even when you say that, speak the larger number first. Instead of saying, I am expecting between 12 to 14 lakhs, say I am expecting between 14 to 12 lakhs. Which makes it look like as if 14 is what you want, but 12 is the least you would settle for. On the other hand, saying 12 to 14 lakhs makes it look like you know that you deserve only 12 lakhs, but you're a little greedy, so you're just asking for 14. Always ended by saying, I still need to get some clarity about the responsibilities and just make sure that this is the right fit. Or you can simply say, I'll decide once I finish my other interview rounds to make a final call, which gives you the freedom to change your number in the end and also make it look like you have more options to pursue. Now the truth is that in a negotiation, the person who can leave the money on the table has maximum leverage. The person who needs the deal will always make less money. If you're a student, then you need the money, which means a lot of these hacks will be useless unless you are super good at what you do and the company that you're applying for really needs you. Now I am assuming that the company is either really well funded or they have enough money to pay you in the first place. If they don't, then none of these techniques will help you get a good salary because the company itself is not at that stage where they can afford you. So before I teach you those comebacks, you need to do an audit of where you stand as a skilled professional. It is super simple. Make a 2x2 matrix. On the horizontal x-axis, you need to mark your skill. Left is going to be low skill, right is going to be high skill. On the vertical y-axis, mark communication skills. Top would be strong communication skills and bottom would be weak communication skills. Now the x-axis is for your hard skill, the core skill that you will be hired for. For example, if you're a designer, then this would be knowing Figma or UX or visual design, design systems, prototyping. If this is a video editing interview, then this axis would be about knowing After Effects or Premiere Pro or just knowing the subject of editing in general. Now we've discussed this again and again that in any profession you have the tool and the subject. You need to make sure that you're good at both. But the y-axis is about how good you are at communicating your value, how confident you sound when the opposite person pulls you down. And to be honest, all of these interviews are actually a test of your communication skills. They are a test of how you act under pressure. Now let me mark these quadrants as 1, 2, 3 and 4. If you're in quadrant 2, obviously you're in the best place to be in. Quadrant 4 is the worst. The tips I share today, will help someone who is either in quadrant 2 or quadrant 3. But for others, they really need to learn their skill well. The truth is that none of these comebacks will give you enough leverage if your skill is not good enough. The most common issue with a lot of students is that they have no awareness of where they stand. They think they know a skill, but in reality they don't. For example, many video editors think that just knowing After Effects or Premiere Pro or transitions will make them a great editor. Those are the tools. What you get paid for is knowing the subject and then executing the subject using the tools. If you're a coder, just knowing the syntax and the language will not get you hired. You get paid for your problem-solving skills. But then, how do you test yourself? Well, if you want a free solution to test your skills, then you can check out RedRob, who are also the sponsors of this video. You can get dozens of free assessment tests online and upskill yourself for the best jobs in the market. And the best part is that after assessing your skill set on RedRob, you can apply for over 600 plus job openings available on the platform. RedRob is the only assessment platform in India that is end-to-end AI enabled and provides job opportunities at the same place. Let me show you how it works. You can check out RedRob by going to the link in description and pinned comments. As soon as you create an account, you will enter their dashboard. On the very top, you can see how it works, but this is where you can see all of their practical assessments. So if I click on browse more, you'd realize that there are so many assessments that you can take for free and also search by title. Now this is helpful if you're trying to prepare for your next job interview. But the crazy part is that if you scroll below, you can see public assessments where you can get a salary up to 20 LPA. So these are all the different companies that are hiring, and what you need to do is you need to take any of these examinations and then get a good score, and once you do that, these companies will get to see your profile, and that is where you can start getting hired. For example, if I were to check out this senior graphic designer post, it'll say that you've been invited to take this test. And I have already attempted this, so I can't really do it again. But let's just say if I go to content marketer, I can see all the assessment instructions, number of sections and questions. And once I start, it'll take around 10 seconds. It'll take my permission to share my screen and take my video, because they actually keep recording everything that you do on screen. And that is why companies love the platform. For every public assessment you take, they have a bunch of questions, and then you can either answer in MCQs, or they also have these questions where you might have to type some of these answers. And once you submit, you will be eligible for an actual job interview. You can check out RedRob by going to the link in description and pinned comments. Let's get back to our 3 techniques. Let's start with technique number 1. Pitching more deliverables. Figure out if there's anything that you can bring to the table apart from the JD that they're looking for. This is by far the most valuable technique. Let's say you're applying for a design role. If you know even a bit about video editing, you can pitch that. For example, you say that I expect 12 lakh rupees a month. And the recruiter says, no, but we are hiring a UX designer with a budget of 9 lakhs. At this point, you need to be very mindful of all the other complementary skills you bring to the table. It could be content writing, it could be speaking, prototyping, presentations, animations, motion graphics, anything. And at that point, you need to logically explain that person that if you hire me, you will not only get a UX designer, but also a person who understands this, and this, which will help you speed up time, because now you'll only have to train me and you will get deliverables of a person who knows other skills as well. Every company, every startup wants to invest in a Swiss Army knife kind of a person where they can have one person do many things. Now I know most of you would be expecting some script or some phrases, stuff like, oh, I will not disclose my previous salary, I bring a lot of value, hence you pay me more. Doesn't work at all. None of those things work in real life. In real life, you have to be super practical and very logical, and all of these scripts really don't work. So what really works in the end is what value you can bring to the table. And I want to teach you how do you discover your own value. The only way you can get paid more is by clearly highlighting your strengths. But first of all, you need strengths, and then you need to be really good at communicating those strengths and then making the opposite person understand why your strengths can be valuable to them. So make sure you have a list of your strengths handy when you sit for these conversations. Technique number 2, if they offer a really low salary, then offer to work on contract and more specifically on a remote contract. Let's say you want to make 12 lakhs a year and they are pitching you 7 lakhs. Instead of blindly saying no to the job, agree to work at 6 lakhs, which is 1 lakh less than what they offer for 3 months. And if it works out, work remotely so that you save a lot of time in travel. You save a lot of energy in not going to the office. Tell them that I am ready to take the risk of working with you for 6 lakhs just to show you how good I am, just to show you how serious I am about this. However, I need the freedom of looking for more jobs or have my salary renegotiated once you've seen my potential in these 3 months. Now, this is a super bold alpha move to make. Now, of course, you'd have to live up to the expectations, but I've used this technique many times as a freelancer, and a lot of my friends use this technique as well. If I hired somebody, I have seen those people use this technique as well. Maybe subconsciously, maybe unconsciously, but this is the smartest way. See, all of my content will only work for a sincere student. All of these tactics, all of these words of so-called wisdom will only work for you if you're really sincere in what you're trying to do in life. If you're a person who's trying to scam people, who's into like basic work, average work, then it will not work out because you will work for 6 lakhs for 3 months and after 3 months they will fire you. The trick is to get an entry into the door. Get paid less in the beginning, but do so well, over-deliver so well that they have no option but to hire you at whatever price you quote them. Because this approach shows that you're very confident about the value you bring to them. It doesn't come across as very greedy or very rude because most people would say that, oh, I will not work at all unless you pay me 12 lakhs. In that case, you not only lose the potential of working with them, but you also come across as a person who's very rude, who's very money-minded. See, if you need the 12 lakhs to pay the bills, then of course, say no to them. But if you have that buffer, and if the brand is good, if the people are good, if you will get a good network, if you will learn a lot, it is better to earn less and then show them your potential in 3 months and then renegotiate your salary once your contract ends. And in parallel, because you have freedom to look for more jobs, you can take this opportunity or their offer letter and use it as leverage for other offers. But then not everyone can follow this advice because sometimes the cost of traveling or working is very high. Maybe they say that, oh, we'll pay you 6 lakhs, but you'd have to come to the office and it's in Bangalore. So a lot of money goes in and you have to sometimes pay back, home loans and debt. And there's a lot of stuff, right? So in some cases you can't do this. But if you can, really good technique. Technique number 3, you need to practice a script. Have all possible questions that they can ask you. Have a script, practice it beforehand. And when you're in the call, specifically make sure that you're speaking slowly, and once they ask you a question, don't panic, don't jump to an answer, and never reply super quickly. I'm telling you, this is not about what you say in front of them, but this is a very common trick power negotiators use. Most people speak very fast when they panic, and the opposite person can judge that. When you're very calm, when you're super stable, when you take 2 seconds, when you take a pause before you reply, the opposite person doesn't feel like you're panicking. The opposite person feels that you're in full control. It shows authority. It shows weight. And you need to make sure that you practice the art of staying calm on the outside, even if you're freaking out on the inside. There's a really cool book. It's called Never Split the Difference. I would strongly recommend you to check out that book. I personally feel that it's a game changer, specifically for people who have a tough time negotiating for their values. Now, I know I've covered a lot of small tips in this video. Let me know in the comment section if you want detailed videos on interview tips, on resume tips or CVs, because we've never really covered this aspect of self-help content. We've always spoken about the skill learning part of things and the testing part of things, but we've never really covered what happens once you have your portfolio. How do you approach a company? How do you message someone on LinkedIn? How do you crack a good job interview? So if this kind of content is valuable to you, let me know in the comments section if you want more of such content. Please make sure you click on subscribe and hit the bell icon. More than 70% of you have still not subscribed to us. Majority of you have still not clicked on the bell icon. It takes a lot of effort for us to make all of these videos, and it would be really helpful if you could simply click on subscribe and the bell icon. The PDF of this entire video would be freely available to download from the link in description. If you're here for the first time, my name is Ansh Mehra and I educate students about design and AI. We also consult businesses on how they can use AI and improve their UX throughout their platforms and websites. If you want to upskill yourself for free, then check out learnuiux.in for our free 9-week course on learning UX design from scratch. If you're interested in things like ChatGPT, Midjourney, or prompt engineering, then do check out howtoprompt.in. You'll find tons of free resources to learn from. With that being said, I hope that you're taking care of your mind and body. This is your dost Ansh Mehra signing out. If you like this video, make sure you click here because this is the next video you have to watch to upskill yourself. We've been making some amazing content and I want to make sure that you finish the entire playlist.